Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to discuss another problem on block diagram reduction. So we have our question here. So we are going to take a look at our question. So on understanding the diagram, we could see that there is one parallel path and four loops in here. So I'm going to analyze the parallel path first. So if I'm going to take a look at the parallel path, I could see the fact that here G2 and G4 are in parallel, but there is this takeoff point. So this should be removed. So I should either take that, move it to here or here. So first of all, if I'm considering to move it over here, then it will be tough to move it after the summing point and after a block. I have to move it twice. So I can just move it to the other side. It will be I just have to move it ahead of one block. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this takeoff point to here first. So if I'm going to move it over here, then I'll have to change the loop transfer function, loop gain from H2 to H2 G2, because here it is G2 is available here, but if I go here there won't be G2, so I have to multiply G2 with H2. Okay, so I'll be multiplying G2 with H2. Okay, so I'm gonna move that particular point to here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna draw it once again. It will be G1, another loop, another one, G2, G3. I need more space at the end, that's why I just rubbed it off, because we need space at the end to write our loops. So here we have G2 in parallel to G4, so I'm just adding them together, and I have G3 over here. Then yep, so we have H1 here. In case of H2, we just moved made it H2 G2 and move the takeoff point to this place. So okay, now we have the outer loop as well. Okay, okay, now we have our diagram over here. So we got our parallel path as such, and we wrote it as a single block. Now what we are going to do is we have a G3 in series with the G2 plus G4. So I'm going to write it as a single block. Since they are in series, we'll multiply them. So it will be G3 into G2 plus G4, right? So I changed the whole 3 blocks into single block. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this takeoff point to this place, or else I won't be able to solve the loop H1, because the takeoff point is within the loop. So I'm gonna move it to outside. So in order to do that, I'll have to divide H2 G2 with the particular block here. Okay, G3 by G2 plus G4. So in the next diagram I'll be doing, we have G1 here, we have 2 loops here, and we have G3 into G2 plus G4 over here as one block. So what I'm gonna do is I have H1 at the end, have h2. That thing is what I'm gonna move to the outside, so it will be divided with g3 into g2 plus g4. Okay, and to the outside, and we have an outer loop. Okay, first of all you have to consider the sign over here. Okay, you have to check the sign over here, or else on taking the loop equation there will be errors. Okay, so let's move on to solving the innermost loop, that is the h1. So on applying the equation, since it is positive over here, okay, since it's positive over here, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna close the equation 1 by 1. I'm so sorry, it was actually supposed to be minus. I made a mistake while writing the question. So this, all of this is supposed to be negative. Okay, if it is positive the equation will change, that's why. So the whole answer will change. I'll have to do it again. I just did it twice, so I'll have to do it again if I'm changing the value. So I have changed the first question itself. So we'll be getting 1 plus gh, since the feedback path is negative, so I'll be getting 1 plus g by 1 plus gh. Okay, so this will be g and this will be h. On solving it, we'll get g3 into g2 plus g4 divided by 1 plus g3h1 into g2 plus g4. This whole block will be replacing this whole loop. Okay, so I'm just doing it right away over here because I don't have to write it again. I have to draw the whole circuit again. So it will be g3 into g2 plus g4 divided by plus g3h1 into g2 plus g4. Okay, I replaced it. Now what we're going to do is we're going to solve the next loop. So I'm going to rub it off. It will be exactly the same equation that we are going to use, that is g by 1 plus gh. We are going to use it again. This time this will be g and this will be h. So I'm taking g first. g3 into g2 plus g4 divided by 1 plus g3h1 into g2 plus g4, dividing it with 1 plus this term once again, g3h1 g2 plus g4, multiplying it with h2 g2 by g3 into g2 plus g4. Okay, these two terms will cancel out. This will go and multiply over here and the denominator will cancel out. So the term will be g3 into g2 plus g4 divided by 1 plus g3h1 g2 plus g4 plus h2 g2 plus h2 g2. So okay, now we have got an equation over here which is the resultant of the second loop. Okay, now let us consider. I'm gonna tell you a simple way. Consider this particular equation as a by b and this particular equation as c by d. Okay, just in case. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna write this particular equation in terms of a b c d. So I'm taking a as the numerator of g. So there is a term over here, right? This is a. And we have the b denominator, that is 1 plus g3h1 into this one, that is this one, that is b. And we have c by d here. We have c by d over here. So what is c by d? h2 g2 divided by d. So what we have left here is c. So we got the answer as a by b plus c. Okay, you can use this method or simple logic to solve this equation in order to get a simple answer. Now we have an outermost loop left, right? That is So we have solved this loop right now. Now we have the outermost loop with 1 as the value. So again what we are going to do is we'll have this and we have a feedback path. Okay, we have a feedback path and we have to solve it. So what we are going to do is, I'm writing that equation over here just in case if you need it. Okay, so what we are going to do right now is we are going to solve this. That is, here the feedback one is value is 1, so it will be a by, I'm writing the whole b, the b, now this time the b will be the whole denominator. Okay, you have to keep that in mind. So it will be whole b, that is 1 plus g3h1 into g2 plus g4 plus h2 g2 plus what I have left is the, I have done g by 1 plus gh. So I've done I have written g by gh. What is left is I have to a by b is written here, but here the value of c is 1, so we can just write 1 over here. We have to consider the fact that it is g into 1, right? Gh, so it is g into 1 and that particular value is a over here. So considering a, so basically I'm writing this equation in a much refined form, that will be a by b plus ac by d. Okay, d will be optional. Sometimes a and d cancels each other. That is what we got, a by b plus c. So I'm just writing it in a refined form. Okay, so here I'm gonna multiply it with, since it's 1, that is c by d is 1 and I have to multiply it with a. So the equation will be, what is the value of a? g3 into g2 plus g4, that into 1, that itself. So okay, we had missed one detail, that we didn't consider this block when we drew this diagram. That's my mistake actually, so I have to consider that one. We missed it. So I'm considering a g1 block over here. Okay, and then a feedback path. So I have to consider this g1. G1 is in series with the bigger block, so we are multiplying. So the equation will be, I'm just rubbing off the excess, I'm rubbing off the b and a and c, okay, not to get a much better look, I'm just rubbing these off. Okay, this will be g1 g3 and the outer loop will be like this. Okay, so here will be g1 and then here also there will be g1. Okay, and our final answer will be this one, a single block. So we have reduced this particular block diagram into a single block, this one. This is our final answer. Hope you all understood it, and this is the important equation. Okay, hope you all understood what I have taught you today. If you understood what we have learned today, thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe to my channel. We'll be sharing you more videos, more informative videos like this.